And let's do it. And action.
Hello and welcome to the Be a Better Boss podcast. I'm your host Ian Highfield, and this podcast is dedicated to one ambitious goal: transforming the world through transforming the workplace. We are breaking free from the constraints of outdated corporate norms, and I'm here to share strategies that I've developed through my experience coaching elite athletes, my studies at Harvard, and my successes and failures as a business leader. In this podcast, you will find actionable, evidence-based tools to enhance employee well-being, boost employee motivation, and reduce employee stress, all while creating workplaces where people can thrive. Today, we are starting at the very beginning. Why am I doing this podcast? And the philosophy that drives it. Let me begin with a story. The story of Chris and Brandon. Chris is an accomplished golfer who had goals and dreams of playing at the highest level. And ultimately, his final journey is nothing short of remarkable. But despite his successes, Chris faced intense pressures, self-doubt, anxiety, and the stress of financial instability. When he came to me as his sports psychologist, we implemented strategies rooted in evidence-based practice. We enhanced his process focus, we boosted his intrinsic motivation, we used goal-setting techniques that reduce stress, we incorporated breathwork, imagery, and journaling into his lifestyle, and finally, we redesigned the way he practiced. The result: Chris didn't just improve his performance, he rediscovered joy for the game, his confidence grew, and his mental resilience became unshakable. Chris's story shows how transformative the power of aligning happiness with high performance and using evidence-based coaching strategies can be. Now let's talk about Brandon. Brandon works in a completely different arena, the corporate world. He's a manager at a sports academy that I run. Brandon has to balance coaching responsibilities with a mountain of administrative tasks. Like Chris, Brandon struggled with many of the same stressors. But my initial attempts to help him, they didn't work. I tried traditional corporate approaches like create a company mission and vision, host team building and social events, of course with plenty of drink and food, schedule Monday morning education meetings, increase his pay, increase his bonuses, give him more responsibility to help him, feel valued. And yet, Brandon's stress levels remained sky high. It wasn't working. Here's where the light bulb moment happened. I realized while I was helping Chris with cutting edge sports psychology strategies, I was using outdated corporate norms for Brandon. Why? Well, because they're the norm. But then I decided to break free of these norms. I started applying the same evidence-based strategies I used in the athletic world with Chris to Brandon in the corporate world. And then I began to do this with the rest of my team, and it worked. They didn't just perform better, they became happier, more fulfilled individuals. This revelation is the foundation for Be a Better Boss. The concept is simple but revolutionary. Treat employees like athletes, administrative athletes. What does that mean? It means recognizing the same principles that help elite athletes thrive, intrinsic motivation, process focus, stress management, are just as effective in the corporate world. Traditional corporate strategies often fail because they focus on external motivators like bonuses, promotions, and perks. These can provide temporary boosts in morale, but eventually they become the new norm. We get used to this pay increase. We get used to this gratification and we want more. This is what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much you increase pay, no matter how much you adapt someone's hours, they will always return to their baseline of happiness. Studies on happiness by Brickman and Kahneman have shown this phenomenon over and over again. So, how can we create lasting happiness in the workplace? We have to help people jump off the hedonic treadmill and start focusing on factors like intrinsic motivation, helping employees find joy and meaning in their work. This increases engagement in their work, and engagement is proven to fuel happiness. We have to help employees be process orientated, shifting focus from uncontrollable outcomes such as profit and customer retention to manageable steps. This helps the employee feel in control and more than just a cog in a profit driving machine. Stress management. Teaching practical tools like breath work to actually reduce stress, not creating an environment that encourages stress, is something that we must begin to do in the corporate world. This helps good life habits evolve from employees, and they'll also feel like valued team members. Over the last 2 years, I've started making these changes and treating my employees like I treat the elite athletes and sports teams I'm blessed to work with. I've shifted all my one-on-one meetings to help employees focus on intrinsic motivation. We no longer discuss the company. We discuss personal missions, personal life visions, and what they value as people. Instead of discussing company goals and targets, we focus on what drives the human, and I'm trying to help them become more than they have ever dreamed they could be. Just like I would with an athlete. My team meetings now emphasize more controllable actions rather than outcomes. Instead of discussing revenue targets, instead of discussing customer retention, instead of talking about expenditure, we talk about how the business can support them and what we need to do to help them provide things that are within our control to support their needs. In turn, the daily habits and actions they can build from this will support the business. This type of engagement in the process mirrors how high-performing sports teams, such as the Boston Celtics, would operate. Over the years, I've started to implement breathwork training with my teams that work in the corporate world. We do physical challenges together, such as 75 days hard. We have team meditation, team journaling, team hydration challenges. Also, we can come together, reduce anxiety, and feel included. This is helping the humans that I work with develop psychological habits of excellence, not be stressed through outcome targets. These changes have already made a significant impact on my team, their motivation, their well-being, and their belief about me as a company director. The same principles that transformed Chris's golf game and took him from the mini tours to a European tour level performer are the same principles that helped Brandon transform himself in the workplace. My mission is to share these strategies so we can create environments where employees are happy, high-performing, fulfilled individuals. On a personal level, this podcast is part of my quest for happiness. I want to be a better coach, a better boss, and a better human being. My wife and daughter inspire me to live with purpose, and I want my daughter Pippa to see someone who pursues their passions, cares about people, and always strives to be better. So, I hope you tune in next time. Thank you for listening to the first ever episode of the Be a Better Boss podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and share it with others. And for more resources, visit me at ianhighfield.com and follow me on social media. Keep an eye out for my book, The Administrative Athlete, Lessons from the Locker Room to the Boardroom. Let's transform the workplace and the world together. Until next time, I'm Ian Highfield. Be a better boss.
Perfect. Okay.